Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Red Shoe Lounge with Louise and Mara. How you doing?
Hello.
We are on episode 2, and this week we want to talk to you about why it's really important that you don't just prioritise your success, but that you make it essential in 2019. And we're going to give you some hows and what to do's and top tips on what you can do to, first of all, get into that mindset of, this is my year, I'm ready for this, because we all know that New Year's resolutions we start off really well. Maybe not 1st of January. I find a lot of people are still hungover 1st of January. So the 1st of January comes 2nd of January. But,
I'm so boring, not me.
No, but you know what? It's about, I think statistically, Mara and I found out that by around about the 2nd week of February, 80% of you will have given up on those resolutions that you started. And what's really annoying about that, apart from the fact that you probably haven't made any progress or very little progress, is that the effect mentally and emotionally is really damaging, because you're just going to tell yourself that you failed again, that you're not good enough. And the chances are it's going to take even more effort to get yourself back on track. So Today we're talking about all the things that Mara and I have found out over the years of doing exactly that. Starting over. I mean, that saying says, isn't it? If you don't like starting over, stop quitting. Or stop
Love it.
Love it. So we're gonna start off with first of all, something that Mara brought up was about stop comparing the journey.
Yes, you know what? I've been so guilty of that in the past. And when I stopped comparing my journey to other people, because my beginning might be their ending.
I love that.
Their middle or wherever. I don't know what's going on in their life. We never know what's going on in somebody else's life. So you can't compare yourself to them. You don't know what part they're in. Mm-hmm. You know, you just have no idea. So when you're looking at your beginning to somebody else's middle or ending, I mean, sure, you're going to feel shit about yourself because they've achieved so much more than you, but you don't know where they started. They probably started right where you are. And we all have to start somewhere, right? So you've just got to stop with that.
I love, and there's a couple of things around that as well. I think the first thing is, apart from the fact that obviously your perception of where they are or how good they're doing is just a perception, because social media is smoke and mirrors. Smoke and freaking mirrors, and people see what they want you to see. So please remember that. The other thing from a mindset and NLP point of view is you will see what you're looking for. So if you're consistently looking for proof that you're not good enough, that you're not making enough progress, that everybody's better than you, your brain is actively seeking that proof for you.
Mm-hmm. So and bam, it's going to keep showing up. I love
really
that.
Will. So you need to change what you're looking for and stay in your lane. Keep your blinkers on so that you're looking at your journey. Now, there's two other things around that as well. Social media also lets us believe that people are overnight successes.
Yes. Well, first of all, that most of the time, people only show you what you want to see. So I think you and I both are kind of similar in this way, that we kind of like to be a little bit more vulnerable and show people the crap parts too.
Absolutely.
So that, because we're real, like we all have our own struggles. We all have our own shit going on. And when people can see that we can do it too, and where we are at in our journey, then that makes it a little bit more, well, it just makes it real, not a little bit more.
It does. I mean, even from like a sort of a science point of view, once a human being has witnessed what's possible for one person, it changes something in our mind that says, oh, that is possible for me. But guess what? You've got to do what that person's done to get to where they're at, right? So the people that we perceive as having these overnight successes, you know, they may have spent 10, 15 years getting to where they are, right? Exactly. So that's the first thing. The other thing that I want to say is something that I like to call people living the 5-2 lifestyle. So just like the 5-2 diet, when you eat nothing for 2 days and then you eat normally, supposedly, for 5 days, right?
Yeah.
I know. How could you even do that? But anywho, it's been a big diet, right? And people have used it. But what I see with women in business and anybody that's, the strategy is the same for anything that we want to achieve, right? There's nothing different about it. You decide what you want, you get clear on your actions, you schedule it in, and you get it done. It's as simple as that. But when we are living that 5-2 lifestyle, whether we're growing a business, whether we're losing weight, whether we're working on our relationship, on a fitness regime, whatever, if we are dedicating 5 days, Monday through Friday, right, yeah, I'm on it Monday to Friday, but then we let go on the weekend and become this kind of, it's almost like giving yourself permission to completely let go of everything that you were doing. I want to tell you that what I worked out was that in 1 year, you lose 3 months of progress. That means in a period of 4 years, you've lost an entire year of progress. So when you're getting your pissy pants on, saying, she's doing better than me, look at her, la, 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 maybe that person lived a 7-7 lifestyle and they showed up like a mofo every day for 7 days and they stopped whinging about it.
I just had a huge light bulb moment there. Huge light bulb moment. Ding, 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 ding. But let me ask you this. So you say that to live like more of a 7-7 instead of a 5-2. Okay. Yeah. So, but what you're not saying, because I think I want to make this clear to myself, and if not for everybody else, for myself as well. You don't mean work 24/7, 7 days a week, but you do mean like still eat properly, still take care of yourself, still do your reading or, meditating and exercising and all that other stuff that needs to be done on the weekends. Don't just sit around on the weekends.
Absolutely. And yeah, I mean, totally. I would never, ever advocate that people work 7 days a week. And I'm a workaholic because I bloody love what I do. But I'll be really honest, and this is a conversation that Mara and I will be opening up at some point in the next few weeks. It has taken an impact on my marriage, right? So this is a whole other story, but it has impacted my marriage because I was 7-7 at work and I wasn't 7-7 present with my husband. So when I talk about being 7-7, I'm like, this is where we say, who do I need to be to get where I want to go? So I want to be the woman who knows how I want people to feel when they're around me. I want to be the woman who values my physical body, my sexual body. I want to value my relationships. I want to value, and so there are going to be actions associated with that state of being.
Yep.
But what we do is, because we convince ourselves that this is incredibly hard work, on the weekend, we're like, right, time to kick back, get the potato chips out, get the beer out, eat pizza. And I'm not saying you can't do that either, but I'm just saying we end up on this yo-yo system and it's no good for our mental and emotional health. Okay. It's about getting focused on those areas that are real important to you and working on them for like maybe 3 months. And this leads us back into another really good point that you put in here, was like, it won't happen overnight. Right?
No, it won't. It won't.
If it took you a couple of years to stack on a stone or 14 pound or whatever, you could lose that like in water, probably in about 2 weeks. But will you sustain that weight loss? No, you won't.
And I think we both know that. We both know that. I mean, that's a whole other topic, but we both know how hard it is or how easy it can be.
To put it on, like it's easy to put it on, not so easy to take that shit off.
Right.
So that's the first thing really, is about staying in your lane, not comparing yourself. You just get clear on where you need focus. And what I loved, I want to just grab my high performance planner. Like I'm not, although I'm a high performance coach, I'm just thinking you may be sitting on it, but I don't think you are.
I have mine.
Oh, okay. So could you do me a favor, Mara?
Yes.
The assessment that's at the front of the book, which is also at the moment, I mean, by the time this comes out, Brendan would have finished it, but it's part of his high performance transformation week. Can you read out the 10 areas of life that he asks you to assess yourself in right at the front of the book?
Yeah. So that is that. Let me make sure I got the right one. You're talking about health, mental, and emotional. Okay. So the first one is health, and then mental and emotional, and then partner and love, family, friends, mission, experiences, spirit, finances, and learning.
I just have to say that when I read that, I was like, oh my God, because high performance coaching is about this six main areas.
Right.
But when you break it down and you look at those 10 areas and you look at the descriptions that he gives in there, that if you was living a level 10 in those 10 areas,
Yes.
your life would be freaking phenomenal, right?
Because he asked you in the assessment, he asked you to score yourself from 1 to 10 in those areas. And you know, I don't want to be a 10, but you know.
So can you read out the partner and love one?
Partner and love, yes. It says, I feel a consistently deep, trusting, appreciative, soulful, loving connection with my significant other. I am patient, respectful, and attentive to my partner's needs. Alternative, if you're single, the alternative is I live each day through my heart and demonstrate compassion and love for others.
Okay.
I love it. But do you do it? No, like, where are you rating yourself?
When I read that, I was like, I kind of need like sub-zero on that scale. And it's in those moments that you get that clarity on, you know what? I spent all this time here and I really needed to spend more time here on the important things. And we quite often disregard the important things because we take them for granted. We take our health for granted. We take our love and our relationships for granted. We take the fact that, you know, our parents are always going to be around or whatever. You know, I'm very blessed. I still have both my parents, you know, and then one day these things just change. And we've seen it happen to people. We've seen people here 1 minute and not here the next, right? So that's a big drive for me in really valuing the fact that life is a gift and it's not a chore. And that's why you should be living level 10 every day. So
well, I think that most people think too, though, don't they, Louise, that if they have the money, everything will come.
For sure.
And really, it's the opposite.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, when you're already having a good life and you can get as close to level 10 in all of these that you possibly can, that will all come.
Yeah,
anyway.
and that's, I mean, that will challenge so many people listening to this because money always does.
Right? Exactly.
Which is why I love it.
So it's time for us to decide that this year is your year, right?
Is our year. So you're not going to compare anymore. You're not going to look at other people and think, okay, it happened over the night for them, because it doesn't. You're going to get clear on what success looks like for you in the next 3 months. And just on that, let's have a quick chat about just to make sure you're in the right space, coming from a space of gratitude for what you already have. So if you decided this year to hit the gym and lose some weight and watch your nutrition and but your motivation is self-talk that says, I'm such a fat, useless cow, right? Not really very good motivation. It's not really good self-talk. For some people, right?
Yeah, how many times have I said that to myself? Oh, Lordy.
Yeah, right. So
it's not good. You shouldn't. I'm saying you shouldn't.
It's not a good place to be in. So when I was a personal trainer, one of the things that I used to say to my clients is, you need to just be telling yourself, like, say I was using myself as an example, Louise, I am a woman working on my health and my fitness. Therefore, I eat well. Therefore, I move my body. And I'm thankful that I can do that. It's that meme that goes around on Facebook, you know, don't exercise as a punishment, exercise because you love and value your body, you know? So,
sure.
Right? It's
sure.
Because we look at Facebook or the films and all the women, they're airbrushed and they've got flat stomachs. I've wanted a flat stomach since I was like 12.
Right.
Like 30 years I've been waiting for a flat stomach. Like,
right.
That's going to have to be lipoed. That's the only way that's going to happen. But
right. Same.
I wouldn't do that. But Mara, I know you are like the gratitude queen.
I am trying, yes.
So can you tell us a bit more about how gratitude works for you when you're thinking about setting your goals and making it an easier task to get there rather than a challenge so much?
So I actually have found it hard because I have been comparing my journey to somebody else. So I'm not looking at what I have already achieved and what I have already done and been grateful for it. But when I started doing that and started being grateful for all the little tiny things that I have accomplished and that I have done, and that has brought me to where I am today and how I have evolved and how important that is. I could be the same person I was 4 years ago. I don't want to be that girl anymore. So I'm grateful that I'm here today, even though I have much bigger goals for where I want to be. Yeah. So, and sometimes even when you're feeling down and you're feeling low and you're which we all have these moments, you have to break out the gratitude even more and give yourself the chance to be grateful for what you already have in that moment. No matter how you're feeling. So you're feeling low, you're grateful. You're feeling high, you're grateful. You're always grateful for what you have in the moment. And then you have goals to do more and do better. That's where I come from.
And I think, just speaking to that, when we have those moments when we're low and we are frustrated, fearful, anxious, overwhelmed, all those delicious emotions that we wake up with some mornings, assuming that nothing traumatic has happened to you and it's just one of those funky days, I think what's important to realise is that the chances are you've probably just told yourself something in your head, or you've just looked at something on social media and made a decision about why that means that you're crap, right? We don't, Dr. Joe Dispenza talks about how we can wake up feeling crap because we wake up to the same thing every day and our body remembers how shit we feel most days, but that's a whole episode on that one. But the point being is that when you're feeling funky, it's because you're focused on the wrong things.
Absolutely.
You want to get out of the funk, change the focus. And
number one, that's a quote. When you're feeling funky,
change the focus. Yeah, it's just incorrect focus, and that might be like Mara said, ripping out that gratitude journal. It could be just putting your coat on and going for a walk. It could be picking up the phone to talk to somebody that you know lifts you up. It could just be standing in front of the mirror and talking to yourself and going, "What the hell? Like, where has that come from? Is this helpful? Let me think about that. No. Well, what the fuck are you going to do about it?" And you're going to make a decision to do something that's going to move you forward. Go cook yourself a nice meal so you don't end up splurging on mac and cheese like I did at lunchtime, which was so good. It's easy in those moments to reach to your natural numbing technique. So your natural numbing technique might be food, and it might be alcohol, it could be cigarettes, it could be, shitty relationships, it could just be doing nothing.
Doing nothing, yep.
Right? Doing nothing is not a tactic to move forward. So we're going to park that one and leave that one there. We want to give you a few quick tips to help you to really decide what success looks like. We are going to give you some red shoe action. I love that sound, although that sounded ever so slightly rude. We will give you a red shoe action right at the end to help you, but here's some top tips that Mara and I have found are absolutely essential if you want to prioritize your life, your happiness, your fulfillment. So Mara, I want you to tell everybody, if you would, how boundaries have helped you and what they've looked like, and what are boundaries? What does it mean?
Oh, well, there's time boundaries, which is one that I have been awful with in the past. So you have to set time boundaries. You can't procrastinate. You have to stay focused on that boundary. For example, just really quickly, let's say you want to spend time with your children, right? Set that boundary where nothing else work related can come in to that time you have focused to your children, whether it's your children or your husband or even your business. So if you're working on your business, set a time boundary. I'm sorry, it's what I'm working on. So that's been huge for me, staying focused and to reach my goals.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, and boundaries as well is around understanding what's important, right? So it's really challenging for me, because once you get onto this topic, it's like a never ending circle, right? It just keeps going round and round and round, and everything feeds into everything else. And even when you focus on one point, I can pretty much guarantee you it's going to have a domino effect in your life. Absolutely. And the best thing you can work on is your mind, but I'll come back to that in a minute. So when you're thinking about your boundaries, if your health is important, you need to have boundaries around what you're going to tolerate. So if you, as an example, if your children bring home like pizza every evening or like takeout, and it's really challenging you, then set some boundaries around, like, if you're going to do that, you need to be having it outside the house, or you need to go eat in another room, or have those conversations. Conversation boundaries are really important, right? Having some boundaries around what you're prepared to tolerate, having the courage to talk to people about, this is where I need your support. This is a massive one. When I spoke earlier on about, when we experience change and one of the partners in a marriage or a relationship, whatever, starts to move forward, and then sometimes this kind of gap widens up and it ends up like the Grand Canyon. Conversations need to be had around that, and you need courage to have those conversations. So to get where you want to go this year, you're going to need courage to practice self-discipline, courage to have conversations, courage to insist that your boundaries are met. So if you need that 60 minutes alone time at night, I remember listening to this on another podcast once, and the woman was a writer. And so this might actually help some of you women if you feel guilty about boundaries. And the woman had 2 young children and obviously her husband, and she was, you know, she was a writer, and she started to feel really bad about like being out of the room and the kids wanted to come in and all that. And then she realized, she said to her husband, she said, I am the mum that I am, and I am the wife that I am because I write, because it feeds me. And if I don't get a chance to do that, I won't be the person that you need and want me to be. And it ended up with her putting a poster or a notice on her writing studio to say, unless you're on fire, don't knock on the door. Right?
Yes, I have to do the same thing.
So I really, really love that. And there is this, again, particularly, and I'm wary of saying it, but I think when we get that little bit older and we've got children, women are just piled with guilt, or we take a lot of guilt on. And guilt is one of the most destructive things that you can allow to design your life. And again, this just could go on, but you know, your boundaries, the courage to have conversations, and also the discipline to get focused on what's most important right now. Like if I'm just going to look at my life in 3-month chunks, I highly recommend the book The 12-Week Year. Can't remember who wrote it. It's not up on my bookshelf at the moment. Very, very simple read, very, very easy sort of strategy to follow. And you're just literally focusing on like maybe 2 to 3 bigger projects. So my projects for the new year, I will tell you, my projects are my relationship, my health, got to get rid of that macaroni cheese weight, Mara, and I've got a business goal, right? So around my masterminds. So there I am. If I start to get that fragmented focus where it takes me off and it goes, oh, Louise, look at this new shiny course that you could buy, or Louise, look at, right, I have to have a little conversation with myself and say, is that part of the plan, Louise? Is it, that's going to take me off track. Right. That's like you get in your car for a 20-minute journey and then deciding to take the other road because it's got some pretty things on it, and then it takes you an hour. And again, this is why when it comes back to comparison, one of the reasons you might keep comparing yourself is because you know you're not focused, and you know you get fragmented, and you know you put other things first, and then you get resentful and you blame everybody else.
Yes. Another aha moment for me. That's exactly it. So when I started asking myself questions like, why are you feeling like this? Why do you think you're doing this? Why do you think you're doing that? And you start asking yourself, because it's truly not it's not the other people. It's all yourself.
Yeah, absolutely.
All yourself.
You know, and this was a concept that I found it really, really hard to sit with. And I know you're going to get this. When it's your relationship, it's even harder, because you're like, oh my God, you're a grown man. Do you really have to be such a dick? Right? But because Mara and I are so growth mindset orientated, when you're not living with that, it's frustrating. But yes, we have to be the ones that kind of rise up and say, right, I need to be more of an inspiration and more of an influence. But that, again, we'll come back to that. But those
we've got so much to talk about. Like so much to talk about. This is so exciting to me. So I can't tell you.
So the boundaries, getting focused. So picking those 2 to 3 things, getting the boundaries in place, having the conversations, getting a plan. So a plan doesn't need to be difficult, and I'm going to help you with that in just 1 second. And then I think finally, my biggest thing is you need to schedule like a ninja. So let me show you my diary. Oh, there's my phone. I've been looking for my phone. It was in my diary all the time.
That's what I was talking about earlier. It's what I was kind of getting towards, is getting that schedule in order.
Yeah.
And so, I love that you said schedule like a ninja.
Like a ninja. So these little pink things are times I open up my diary to work with clients. So they're just like client calls. And then this is like this is about like this is end of February, beginning of March, and then I'll put some more colours in for my gym time. And when I use my own personal planner and I decide, okay, what time will I switch off today? And if I've got a 2 o'clock switch off, I will go to the gym in the afternoon. So there are some things that are non-negotiable. I have to walk the dog every day for an hour. I like to cook fresh food. I like to work out. All of those things are really important. And if they're not in the diary, they don't get done. Right?
Right.
If it's not written, it can get moved.
Yep.
And unless you're really proper on it, you will find a way to put something else in place and convince yourself it's important. So again, it's down to you. You're creating your reality by what you decide to do and what actions you decide to take. And the last thing on top of all that, before we get into your red shoe action for this week, and this was Mara's kind of like thing. Mara, we've got to believe it's possible, right?
Yes, 100%.
When did you know that you had flipped from trying so hard but deep down knowing that, or deep down believing that it wasn't possible for you? Because I've seen the change in you since like the biggest change from probably about like August, September. And I want to just say this, generally, ladies, is how it works, right? You keep going, you keep going, you keep going. You will have days when you want to cry. You'll have days when you will want to give up. You'll say, why is this so hard? Why do I still believe I'm so crap? Why is everyone doing better than me? La, la, la. And then bang. If you don't stop, one day this light bulb goes off. And instead of taking one step at a time, you're doing like the triple jump.
Right.
And you look back and you go, whoa, right? And then that motivates you enough that you start to become exponential and you seek constant improvement in all areas of your life. It's happened for me, and I've seen it in Mara in the last however many months. Phenomenal. Right. So was there something that really made that goal for you, or did it just happen like subconsciously and you just felt different?
I just felt different. So I don't remember the exact moment. It was just a subconscious thing, but it's work that I've been doing for a very long time, and you can't give up, and you just have to keep doing it. Yeah. And believing in yourself is, big on that list of priorities that you need to do. Yeah. And I don't want to say that it's hard, because I don't like saying that things are hard. You make it a choice to be hard. Yeah. I think if you choose for it to be easy, it can be easy. So I think that I really made a choice for it to become easy. Like, this doesn't have to be hard. Life is different for everybody. Life, I don't want to say, because, I don't like to say it's like hard or difficult or anything like that, just because I don't like using those words for one, but, it can be difficult, but it's really truly what you make it. And you may have the choice to walk through that difficulty and do something different or wallow in it. Okay. So no time for wallow, no time for comparison, no time for any of that.
It comes back to whether you like choose to charge with the challenge, like I said last week. And I'm like you, I don't like using the word hard, easy, because it's all subjective as well, right? It's totally subjective, but it's a challenge. And you can bring the fun, the joy to the table. You can make it feel like sunshine on your face, or you can make it feel like a constant being slapped around the face. That choice is yours. And I want to just kind of quantify here, and I think Mara's in a similar position. Our kids are a lot older, right? So my kids are 17 and a half and nearly 19, and they don't live at home. They're at college and stuff. So it's pretty much me and the dog most of the day, which is great. But I've had my time as a single parent. I've had my time bringing the children up, and my parents are older, so I want to spend more time with them. And I still don't give myself a lot of time. So I know there's going to be people here that have full-time jobs, that have young children, that, that have other difficulties. I've got clients who have got they're single parents with autistic children and no family support whatsoever. And they're in my mastermind and they're showing up for themselves every single week. It's always a choice.
Right. It's definitely a choice. It's what your priorities are. It's what
Yeah.
you're putting first.
Yeah.
And everybody has shit. We all
Yeah.
have our own stuff. Everybody has their own road and their difficulties.
Yeah.
And it's what you prioritize
Yeah.
and where you shift those things on your own personal road. You
And
know,
there's always,
what cars are parked on your road, move those cars out of the way.
yeah. And there is always another way to achieve the outcome that you desire. And Hal Elrod sums it up really well in his book Miracle Morning, when he says, okay, like ideally give yourself an hour, like 10 minutes on all the 6 things. But if you don't have that, or you're not ready to start at that, give yourself a minute in each thing and give yourself a 6-minute start to the day. There's always a way, right? And you make it work for you. And I can guarantee that when you start taking those steps, you'll be prepared and more courageous and more determined to go up and start adding more. So this is where we're going to finish off today. We're going to give you your red shoe actions. Remember, when you do this, we want you to give it the hashtag red shoe action. We want you to share it on our social media. We've got a YouTube channel for you guys. And who knows what's going to come up. So please go share that. Now, it's really, really super simple, but you've got to be really, really honest. Now, you don't have to share your honesty list if you don't want, but we'd love to be nosy and have a look. So the first, grab yourself a piece of A4 paper like this, and on one
Only
side,
the YouTube people can see that.
okay, so, right, so if you're listening on the podcast, you won't be able to see. So I want you to get a piece of A4 paper and have it landscape, and you're going to put 3 lines. You're going to break it into like thirds, and in the left-hand column, you're going to write like where I'm at. And you're in that right-hand column where I'm at, you're going to have a look at the areas. Think about those areas that Mara talked to us about before. But if you want to simplify it, look at your love, your relationships, your intimacy, your finances, your career, how fulfilled you are in life, all of those things. Look at the areas of your life. And write down about the things that you're really not happy with. And I want you to think about like, what's the actions that I have or have not taken that have created that? So I shared with you honestly earlier on that one of the reasons that my marriage needs some like life support right now is because I neglected it. I put my work before my husband. I didn't prioritize putting my phone down when he came home from work. I got very alpha female, still working on that one.
I love that about you.
The same with the 10 pound of excess weight around my middle. Too much macaroni cheese and too much water. And they're like really simple ones. And I want you to go as deep. The deeper you go now, the chances are the better you'll find the right actions that will impact more than one area. So the left-hand column is like where I'm at, right? Where I'm at. The middle column, you can write about what actions have got me here. And it's where you get really honest. What actions have got me here? You might even want to delve into what beliefs are behind that. Like, I comfort eat. And underneath, you might realize actually you comfort eat because you're deeply sad. You're lonely. You don't feel worthy, right? And then the right-hand column, I want you to write, where do I want to go? What does it look like to pass over the bridge from where I'm at to where I want to go? Like, what would you like your relationships to be like instead? How would it feel for you to have more energy, to be more productive?
Yeah, how would that feel for you?
To be more productive, to have more clarity, to be more of an inspiration to people, to be somebody that people want to hang around, to feel like you could put your trainers on or sneakers, whatever you call them, and go, right, how would that feel to be living a level in your life that's maybe 1 or 2 steps away from where you are now? Mm-hmm. And the final thing you've got to do, you really should have 4 columns, maybe they're not 3. Write a list of all the things that you could do. And remember, some of those things are going to be things that you're going to stop. So maybe you'll stop buying crap food. Maybe you'll stop buying crisps and biscuits, right? Maybe you'll start having a date week. Maybe you'll start wearing makeup and blow drying your hair before you leave the house, and it just makes you feel a bit better. I mean, Mara always looks immaculate. I
like that one.
Maybe you will buy yourself a decent planner and schedule like a ninja, right? Maybe you will have that really courageous conversation. Maybe you'll ask for the pay rise. Maybe you'll quit your job. You could have a list of a gazillion things. You only need to pick a few. Look at the areas where you most want to feel that change and have a look at the action steps and say, which of these action steps will get me the biggest change in the shortest amount of time that I know I will commit to because it's really, really important to me. So you want one more summary. Maybe split that piece of paper into 4. Column number 1, where am I at that sucks? Column number 2, what have I done or not done that's created this in my life? Column number 3, what do I want it to be instead? What outcome is my preferred outcome? Number 4, what could I do to get that feeling back in my life? And then from that, you can just highlight maybe 3, 4, or 5 actions that you can start doing. You put them into your diary and you bloody well commit to them.
Amen. Amen.
And that's it. That's your red shoe action. And it doesn't need to take forever, right? It doesn't need to take forever, but the people that won't give themselves the opportunity and the time to do that, they either don't want the change or they don't value themselves enough to start instigating that change. And that's another story. But that's your red shoe action for this week.
And remember, your life is your choice, ladies.